Sorry for that. Sometimes Zoom likes to kick me off Zoom right when I'm about to begin. Good morning, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. It is now noon, so we can get today's meeting started. I can confirm we do have quorum and all members of the committee are present at the moment. Joining us from staff are Dan Hazel, Supervisor, Licensing and Enforcement Services, and Officer Nicholas Pappas. Derek O'Shea is our meeting host for this afternoon, and I'm Ian Sullivan filling in for Beth Fawcett as committee clerk. The only member of the public currently in the meeting is the appellant. And with all that out of the way, I'm happy to turn it over to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Ian, for that introduction. I'll say hello to the rest of the committee who did a very fine job last time, just proving that they can do it all themselves if they want to. So, I'm going to call this meeting to order. We have the approval of the agenda as the next item. And do I have a mover for that? Mr. Knox. And I can't see you all at once. Is there a seconder?
Jeff McLaren will second.
Oh, okay, good. Okay. Thank you, Councillor McLaren. All those in favor of the agenda? 1, 2, 3. I got enough to get it. This is very awkward, actually. The item 3, confirmation of the minutes of the appeals meeting of Monday, May 16, 2022. That has to be moved by somebody who was there. So it leaves the councillors out. You can't move minutes of a meeting you weren't at. You can second though. So moved by Mr. Storms and seconded by Councillor McLaren. All those in favor? Very good. And so that passes. And now for disclosure of pecuniary interest. I got to take a good look at all of you here. I don't see any. So moving along. 5, there are no delegations that I know of. There are no briefings that I know aware of. And so item 7 is the business. 7A is new appeals. Item I or 1 is 694 Elmer Crescent. And the property standards officer is Nicholas Pappas. And I see he's present as announced by the clerk. So Mr. Pappas, you could take us through the nature of the item. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. I apologize for the location I'm in. I'm actually on course right now away in Aurelius. So can everyone hear me? Okay. There might be a bit of background noise. So just let me know if that's the case. Okay, so like you said, my name is Nicholas Pappas. I work for the City of Kingston Property Standards and Bylaw Enforcement. And this is in regards to 694 Elmer Crescent. Received a complaint about some property conditions, and the complaint was received on April 22nd of this year. And the initial inspection was done 5 days later on April 27th. There were several violations found, and upon the inspection, I was informed by the tenant that the property could be going up for sale. So as a precautionary measure by our municipality, we do put that on title, just so that it protects the new buyer and the municipality. So that's what happened with the order. It was placed on title, and an order was issued on April 28th, and it was given a compliance date of June 15th, which has come and gone because of the appeal. And that's pretty much where we're at. I believe that the owner was looking for an extension, and that's kind of where we're at right now. I can go through photos if you like.
Okay. I think everyone will have read the written submission. from
Okay.
the city.
Yep.
But if you could flip through, Clerk and I arranged this before, and look at the pictures and try to relate them as much as possible in order of the
For sure.
order, okay?
Yeah.
Otherwise,
definitely.
people will be all over the place. So
Yeah. No
that's-
problem. No
That's
problem.
what I'm
I
trying
will-
to avoid.
No problem. Yeah. I'm just gonna see if I can pull that up. Just
We've got the pictures in front of us
okay. Perfect. Yeah,
that was sent to us by the clerk. Have you got the same?
I do as well. Yes.
So if you could cite the item number and relate the item number to the picture, or
Okay.
the picture to the item number, either way you want to do it.
Okay.
And then we would have some coherence, perhaps.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. So I'm kind of going back and forth from the presentation until to here. So, the flooring is the first picture you see here on the left. There was spaces in the flooring, and that is a violation of one of our bylaws. Now for the specific pictures, they are not in order of the way the items read.
no, I realize that. Do you
Yeah.
know what item this is?
I can,
So we can
yeah, I can definitely,
flip to it if we need to.
I'm just gonna look here. Um, Just looking here. So that'd be item 16. It includes
yeah.
every
Okay.
wall, ceiling, floor. So that would be included in that specific section. So section 4.39. It
Okay.
also covers the walls, which we'll have a few photos of as well.
Sure.
The following photo on the next slide, which is a picture of the ceiling, that was just showing that there was a active smoke detector. The photo to the right shows a small defect in the floor.
Okay.
As you can see, the photo quality is not the greatest. We were in a dark part of the building, just showing a small amount of peeling paint along the door frame for the next photo.
Okay.
And then as we get into the basement, there's loose coverings of the brick and again, some unfinished drywall. I understand that the owner was doing some basement renovations.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
The whole house actually was being renovated.
Okay.
What particularly is wrong with the bricks?
So there was actually the fireplace is covered by a trash bag.
Oh, I'm saying.
Yeah, so it's an inoperative, I believe, fireplace, judging by the outside of the building.
That's correct.
Mhm. So it just have to be properly sealed, which could be in your plans, I'm sure.
Yeah, everything is in the plans as we talked before, Nicholas, on the phone.
Yeah.
If the appellant could, I understand the desire to clarify, but we'll get to you after we get through all this, okay? And you'll have an opportunity to respond. So, what are we looking at now?
So we are now still in the basement. So I was just going over each photo as it pertains to item number 16. if you'd
Mhm.
like me to continue with that, or if that's sufficient, I can.
Just tell us about these photos.
So loose coverings would include all peeling paint. I
Mhm.
believe we're at the end of that now, so I'll move on to the next item.
Okay,
So we'll go in reverse, I guess. So item number 15 was guardrails and handrails. The guardrail leading to the basement is one of the photos closer to the end of the presentation there. It is not rigid in its structure, and you can see that there's the assisting officer can show the split in the handrail.
okay.
It would be on slide number 28.
Oh, yes. Okay,
There should also be a handrail, guardrail on the exterior deck on both sides, which is not present on slide number 29.
okay, go ahead.
Okay. So moving on from that, so item number 14 also encompasses the guardrails. So that's anything that's over 3 risers,
Mhm.
2 feet, which that exterior deck does fall under.
Right. Go ahead.
Number 13, item number 13 is the soffit and fascia. So as you can see in the exterior photos, there is some paint missing, or there's no flashing. So that would need to be either painted or repaired.
Okay. You can just go ahead as you see fit.
Yep.
Okay.
Item number 12, the electrical wiring fixtures. So some of them did not have proper switch plates, as well as light shades to protect the outlet from being a danger to those inside. So all the electrical outlets and switches must have the covers installed.
All right.
Item number 11. So there were a few extension cords run through the rafters in the basement. Those are not permitted as permanent fixtures. So that was included just as a safety precaution, as it was noted. Item number 10 included all rotted damaged doors, frames, windows, frames, sashes. So the kitchen patio door, and I did speak to the owner at length about the kitchen patio door, and that was going to be replaced. It was just not in working condition. All damaged and weathered window frames and casings. So the front window had some peeling paint, as did a few of the other windows. So that just needs to be painted. And then all exposed window frames must be painted. So wood window frames. Item number 9. So there's some concerns about the appliances provided by the owner. Specifically, the dishwasher wasn't secured, and the stove would intermittently work. So those needed to be repaired and maintained. Number 8 was it had to do with our section 5.57, and that was for plumbing. Main floor bathroom tub was not draining properly, so it needed to drain properly, as well as the main floor bathroom sink was not draining properly. Item number 7 included lighting equipment, and all the lighting equipment needed to be functional. A few of the lighting fixtures in the basement, as well as on the main floor kitchen area, were not operable at the time of inspection. Item number 6 was to do with the kitchen cupboards. Some of the kitchen cupboards doors would not close properly. So all the kitchen cupboards shall be replaced or repaired so that the doors open and close freely. Item number 5. So again, speaking to the kitchen, it was there must be proper cupboard space within every kitchen, as stated in 5.49.
Okay.
Item number 4, because there was some electrical work that had been completed in the basement, and I could see that it was fairly recent. I wanted to include that any and all electrical work must be completed by a licensed electrician and be in good repair. Just again, as a safety precaution. Item number 3, some of the windows and skylights, or sorry, the windows and doors were not opening freely, as mentioned previously with the patio door. So all windows and doors must open and close freely. Item number 2, once again, a lot of our bylaws overlap. So the kitchen patio door must be fitted with working hardware that locks, and it must be repaired or replaced due to a leak in the window itself. And lastly, under our yards bylaw, there was a large amount of rubbish and debris in the rear yard that needed to be removed, and that was captured in several of the exterior photos.
Okay. Thank you very much. Is there anything else you wish to add at this time?
Not at this time.
Okay. All right. So if the appellant wishes, oh, well, there may be questions for the committee. Do we have questions? And please just stick up your hand if you do. Ms. Willis.
So let me just find my note here. I just wanted to confirm with the officer that you're including the fireplace and the brickwork within item 16, the condition of the walls.
Let me just.
That's sort of how it was presented.
Yeah, and I don't want to mislead, so I'm just double checking here. Because the wall, yes. So because the fireplace takes up the entire wall, it is loose. There are loose fitting brick. So that is where it was part of the wall. So that's where it was put under. That's my.
So did you observe defects in the exterior of the chimney that serves that fireplace?
No,
No. Okay. And as far as you could tell, the fireplace is inoperable to anyone occupying the space?
that's correct. There was a plastic garbage bag placed over the entrance of it, so.
But you would have no way of knowing if one was to take off the garbage bag if they could attempt to use it.
No,
That's
that's correct.
something I'm
No, you're
don't
correct.
know. Okay.
Yep.
The handrail to the basement, was it actually it was cracked? Was it also loose?
It is, yes.
Okay. And in general, did you have life safety concerns when you inspected the property?
No,
And you observed extension cords that were run through the rafters in the basement? Were they going to the upstairs or?
no, they were placed there. There's a photo. Let me find it.
But they were being used?
No, I could not see that they were specifically being used, but they were there. They were there, so that's why it was included.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, is there any other questions from the committee? Mr. Knox?
Just a question on the exterior porch.
Yep.
There's one handrail, one missing, the one that is there. Is it okay? Is it secure?
It is secure, yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the committee? Okay, so I think now we'll go to the appellant. Do you wish to respond? And if so, go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
We can't really see you though. Your camera is pitched out towards the top of your head. There we
Oh,
are.
I'm sorry.
That was
So you
better.
just-
That's
Okay,
better.
okay,
Yep.
I can't see anybody, but I didn't know there was a video going on. That's fine. So yeah, in regards to the home itself, I mean, like, I rented it without any written lease agreement with the acquaintance Sue, and they took the place under the knowance that I was doing a lot of renovations and stuff, which was from top to bottom that Nicholas had seen. And they impeded a bunch of work, asking them to you know, like with the flooring downstairs, to move stuff out of the office so I can get things done. And we, you know, contractor guy that was working for me, he comes the next day and he calls me. He said, Andy, they didn't move anything out of the room to finish the jobs, and there's dog feces all over the brand new floor. And, you know, me taking, like you talk about debris over the winter months, to Westendorf, going over to the house every Saturday to take construction work out from downstairs, and telling them on a Friday that I'd be there Saturday morning to get out stuff. So could you have the driveway clear? And they don't budge for me to do anything. So the final straw was them not letting us finish the downstairs rec room flooring and stuff like that, and then start off with the replacement of a patio door. And back in March 17th, before all of this happened, the windows in the rec room, the two rec room windows, I ordered brand new ones. They're here way before all this happened. They're just being vindictive over me telling them that I can't afford to have them there anymore if they're going to be treating the house the way that they are and not letting us do work.
I see. Anything else you wish to add?
Well, I mean, in regards to the fireplace is the original fireplace with the old heatilator tubes and stuff. And years ago, that wasn't functioning, and then that's why it's like sort of sealed off the way that it is. And telling the tenants, like, you know, don't worry about the fireplace. It's not operable right now. You can't use it. But I mean, everything that you guys have taken pictures of and stuff like that, it's all being remedied. But they're just impeding all the work. I'm trying to get them out. My contractor guys won't even go over there now because the people there are just being morons.
So you applied for an N12, did you?
Well, I reluctantly, I had no other option to just fill that thing out, because there's no other way that I can just say, like, how does it work? The N12 business is not even like registered with the tribunal because there's no written lease agreement with these people. So I had to tell them that, like, you guys have to leave. I'm sorry. I was going to sell the place in a couple of years, but with them impeding all this work, and they don't respond to requests to go over to the home, I had to give them their notice, and they were only there for like a couple of months, since like January.
So are they in the house now?
They're in the house now. They have a U-Haul box in front of the house,
Mhm.
and trying to talk to them and stuff, saying like, when are you leaving? When are you leaving? They don't answer. And the one son like calls up and he calls me a moron and a slumlord business and all that kind of stuff. And they don't respond to any calls, texts. And like I said, we can't get anything done with these people here.
So when is, if you gave them notice, have you registered that with the LTV?
Again, with the LTB business, nothing is registered because we don't have a written lease agreement. And again, they took the home under the knowledge that I was doing all this work, and they impeded all. And April 19th is when I told them, I said, guys, I can't do this anymore. Here's your notice. You have to leave. They've stopped paying rent. They've jacked up all my hydro and all that kind of stuff. They leave windows open with the heat on, and windows open now with the AC on. I have people watching the home.
Mhm. Have you engaged a lawyer?
That probably will be coming.
So when do you think this is going to be remedied?
Well, I'm assuming that these people, because they don't communicate with myself at all. From what I've heard, that they're leaving July 1st.
Okay.
And as soon as these people are gone, I mean, like, I want to finish all the stuff that I've started, and like Nicholas knows that as well. I've told him everything that I was doing.
Mhm.
In regards to tubs and sinks, like not draining, like all that stuff was working perfectly before they got there. And I've noticed that they've damaged some things, and you know, you mentioned about a lawyer. I've told them, I said, if you guys wreck my home in any way, shape, or form, I said, get ready to lawyer up. I have no other choice. And again, they've stopped paying rent now the past 2 months.
Mhm. So any questions from the committee? Councilor McLaren.
So if I understand this correctly, you're having trouble fixing all this stuff because the tenants are giving you trouble. Is that correct?
Yes, 110% correct.
Okay, and they haven't paid rent for 2 months. Have you given them an N4, I believe it is, the not pay rent yet?
Again, I have not, because again, this is there's no written lease agreement with these guys in the tribunal and stuff like that. And
The
that,
tribunal
and
makes
that,
account of that in some cases when you don't have a written lease agreement. I mean, they're
Ex-
there. You guys have some sort of, have they ever paid rent?
oh yeah, they paid their first and last and were paying all the time
That's
until,
evidence.
excuse me?
That is your evidence that you have a lease agreement with them. It's a verbal one.
Yeah, okay, verbal lease agreement, but nothing's been gone through this tribunal thing. I've never ever done this before. So I mean, like, again, it seems as though that with the U-Haul box in front of the house, they're leaving. Right. So I mean, in regards to them not paying my rent, I don't care about that anymore. I just want them out of the home.
Okay, thank you. I'll have comments later when when we're ready to make a decision, or can we make those now?
I think, well, well, wait a minute. Well, Ms. Willis asked the questions. We'll ask the questions first. And then I can imagine what you have to say. So that helps.
No, I just have one simple question, actually. Can you give the panel an idea of whether it would be possible for you to do any of the items on the order in the current situation? For example, removing the debris from the yard. Is that something that could be achieved?
Oh, yes, exactly. Like everything that's in regards to our meeting here today is 110% is going to be remedied.
I'm meaning more in the current, as things are today with the situation and the struggle with the tenant. Do you foresee that you could complete any of the items, including something like the removal of debris, with them still in the house as things are today?
Yes, of course I could. I just have to make arrangements to tell them that, we're going over there. I would have to leave a letter or something in the mailbox to say that we're coming over at this particular time. I've even texted them telling them that, because Nicholas had mentioned before that he's willing to go over to the home. And I told them, maybe about a week or so ago, that I want to make arrangements, say with bylaw, say with Nicholas and whoever else, to get over to the home. But they just don't respond back to me and stuff like that, right?
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. I think I'm going to go back to not seeing anybody else on the committee. Make sure I can see everybody here. I'm going to go back to Councilor McLaren. And because I think he had a suggestion regarding the legal situation. If you could go ahead, Councilor McLaren.
Thank you. So yeah, the suggestion I have is if they're going to be moving out on July 1st, that's only a few weeks away, we should give an extension at least until that. If they don't move out, then the extension should be based on when the court date is to get them out. I know that trying to fix things when you have in or uncooperative tenants is a very difficult thing to do. It often triples or quadruples the expense, as well as creates other problems. So if they move out on the 1st of July, we extend it for however long it takes to get that done, which would be maybe about a month, I would imagine. If they don't move out, then I would like to see evidence that you've lawyered up and the proper forms have been given in the proper form, in the proper way, and that you are proceeding at least on that grounds.
Yes, of course. Of course, yeah.
That's basically what I would think would be a suggestion at this point.
So, Councilor McLaren, just to be clear, would you be looking for, say we extended this into, well, July, by the sounds of things. Would you be, you said something like you would like to, at that time, if they haven't gone, you want to see evidence that this has gone to the LTB, right? Because as you said, a verbal agreement where rent is being paid is indicative of an agreement to occupy, not a lease, right? Okay. I guess our biggest, and I understand that. I'm going to say that our concern here is whether the house is being properly maintained and is habitable. Now, the problem in a case like this is if we take the appellant's word for it, these people are not making this situation habitable. They're making it worse. And I was wondering if I think I saw Mr. Hazel present. Maybe not.
Thank you, Your Chair. I appreciate the opportunity to comment.
Yeah, just to clarify the legal situation that we're responsible for under the scenario that we've begun to consider.
Absolutely. My comments would be categorizing this file into a couple courts, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
The first court would be all the exterior outside yard issues.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's in the city's understanding that there's no reasons why those yard issues could be cleaned up between now and the next meeting in July. That would give Mr. Ryan an opportunity to go there and clean the yard, remove the garbage, everything that doesn't involve going into the property or providing that required notice under the LTV. So I think that would be the first recommendation I would make to handle the exterior debris issues. The second thing I would look at requesting would be between now and the next hearing would be some sort of maintenance plan that factors in the comments from Councillor McLaren, how the owner is going to handle the proceedings LTV issues. I'd like to see this plan cover two options. Option one, if they are evicted, and option two, if they are not. And what is the maintenance plan to get those noted deficiencies dealt with? I'd like to have that submitted to Officer Pappas for review, probably a few days, if not a week before the next committee meeting, if it's July or August, just so he can review that, provide comment back to Mr. Ryan, just so they are both on the same page. In terms of the legalities at the property, the municipality is not involved with the LTV parameters. The officers are have a difficult task of trying to manage that equation during these files. The officers do a great job of providing the LTV information to the property owner as well as the occupants. And quite regularly, the officers do get summoned or subpoenaed to attend these hearings as a result. They do attend it in an impartial format. And we do understand that this particular file, the alleged occupants may not have a lease agreement. And the legalities around that, as our property standards bylaw doesn't require a lease agreement, so long as the persons residing at the property meet the definition of occupant, which I do believe this particular file does meet that standard. The officers are obliged to go forward with inspections. I do appreciate and really understand the scenario that Mr. Ryan is going for. I empathize with his situation, and I really applaud, or I really suggest that he does contact a lawyer or a legal representative to get some advice. And that would really allow him to stick handle the incoming or the next steps with the LTV proceedings. Hopefully I'd answered your questions, Councillor Hutchison.
Sure. No, that was good. Thanks, Mr. Hazel.
Service desk, please, Chris.
Okay, so I'm just going to look for a straw vote whether the committee is willing to go along this route, and then we'll work out the details here in a minute. If there's no objections, if there's objections or problems, stick up your hand. Okay. If I don't see that, we'll proceed with this. I think the bones that we got of this from Mr. Hazel and from Councillor McLaren is about the most practical thing we can do here. So that would mean we would have an extension to, and I asked the clerk to tell me the date.
The next meeting is Monday, July 18th.
Monday, July 18th. I suppose I could have looked that up in the agenda, so my apologies for that. Okay, so I think probably if the clerk is madly typing here, we could grant an extension to Monday, July the 18th, given that the yard waste is cleaned up and removed by, usually we give it a week before the meeting, but in this case, maybe we want it sooner. I see one nodding head. I see two nodding heads. Mr. Knox is giving me a bit of a nodding head. Sorry about that. I can't see Mr. Storms, but I will see him in a minute here. There he is. Okay. So, okay, so that's the first item. The other is the receipt of a maintenance plan with two parts. Part one is if the current tenants are evicted by July 1st, and the second is if they are not evicted by July 1st. And when do we want that submitted to the staff? Mr. Hazel, can you give me a suggestion when practical for your purposes?
Yep, thank you, your chair. Considering it's summer months and we want to be respectful of Mr. Ryan's plans and Officer Pappas's, maybe they might have some vacation. I would say 1 week before the next date would be acceptable. So maybe by the
11th. Actually, the way we do it is it's done by the Thursday before, which is whatever that is. That's what we've done in the past. I'm not saying it's perfect right now. So July.
I don't have any objections to
14th, by the 14th, it's done. Like the inspection, and we know what's going on there. So when you arrive at the meeting, it's either done or it isn't. Okay? So, but what I mean is we want to receive that maintenance plan by what date? The end of the month? Or do you say a week before? Because he's going to, presumably there's a chance he'll have possession of the house from the 1st. I mean, it doesn't look good at the moment, but we have to go with what we got. So I would.
Councillor Hutchison, thank you for the opportunity. My recommendation would be at least 5 to 7 business days. And the only reason why I suggest that for this particular file is it provides Officer Pappas a good chance to review it. And if he has any questions or requires any inspections ahead of the next meeting, he'd be able to schedule those and have those conversations with Mr. Ryan. And then he'd be able to come back to the meeting with a full 360 scope of all the activities.
What needs to take place. So that suggests to me the 11th. July 11th. Okay. Now this is what I suggest to Mr. Ryan and the committee, and both Councillor McLaren and I have been involved with property management. So there's no reason not to get an LTB order in, a request for an order. You're not going to get it right away anyway. But so part of what Councillor McLaren said is he wants to see evidence that the LTB proceedings have taken place. So when do we want to be for the city to be able to see those? Because frankly, you can put the application in anytime you want, and it's not that expensive. So, although in this case, I suggest using a paralegal at least. What do people think of that last thing? I see Mr. Storms is thinking. I can see his brain working.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I'm just thinking with respect to his representation. I don't care if I see whether he's represented or not. That's up to him. But I would like to see the process started, because I know even if he doesn't have a lease, if he's given 2 months notice, you're allowed to evict or start the proceedings. And if I'm recalling his evidence prior, he could start that process now. So I wouldn't mind seeing.
And he hasn't been paid in 2 months, so there's a number of grounds there, right?
So he's got all the grounds. So there's nothing stopping him other than just time at this stage. So some form of Councillor McLaren's right, like some form of proof that the proceeding's been initiated, even if it's just filing the forms, would be good.
And do we want that by July 11th, or do we want that before the end of June?
Well, I mean, like I said, the only thing that's stopping him that I'm aware of is time. So I wouldn't mind seeing it before the end of June, before the end of June. Right?
That's what I thought. So I've got a couple of comments to Mr. Ryan, who I believe you said, Mr. Ryan, that you had not done this before.
Oh, in regards to the forms, yeah, that's right. Never,
Okay.
never been, yeah.
So it does cost a little bit of money, but it doesn't cost very much money to get the right forms filled out. The problem for you, as far as I can see, is you've not done it before, right? And
Exactly.
it is a pain in the neck. Okay, there's no doubt about it. But landlords fill them out like in a flash after they've done them a few times, right?
Right,
And so I think for your own protection, you should do this. The committee wants to see it because we want to get things sort of structured here, right?
right,
But also for your own protection, you should want to do it because then you have the process in train, right?
right,
And whether they leave on the 11th or not, at least you know you're moving in the right direction.
right.
And you
I
have to
mean,
give that a copy of that notice to them. And so they get
Yeah.
the idea you're serious. Okay.
right. Well,
Okay.
I'm assuming that they know I'm serious in regards to me dropping off and filling out that actual N12 thing or whatever. And in regards to July 1st,
Mhm.
there's been observation of, like, on social media, not with me, but with friends who are sort of watching these people, saying that they're looking for a place for a July 1st kind of thing. So obviously, and with the U-Haul box in front of the house, they are leaving.
Okay. So my suggestion to you, based on experience, is you issue the other N4s like non-payment of rent, damage to the building. You issue those as well.
Right.
Okay. Okay. I know
Okay.
each one costs not very much money, but it costs something. But right now, I think you're in a position of limiting your losses. Okay. So, and because one of them will stick for sure. Okay. That's
Yeah.
okay. So we're not here to give you advice, but if it helps this process get along, then I guess it's worthwhile. So those are the elements. I wonder if the clerk got them.
Yes, Councillor Hutchison, I have them.
Okay, and you know the evidence of the LTB proceedings are before submitted to the city through property standards, and that evidence is produced before the end of June.
Correct.
Okay, and everything else is July 11th. Okay.
Correct.
Okay. So have we got a motion there, Mr. Clerk?
So we would need a mover and a seconder for it, but
Yeah.
I have a very roughly typed out on my sheet here.
Okay, so Councillor McLaren's willing to move it. Have we got a seconder?
I'll second.
Okay, good. Mr. Storms is seconded. So all those, any discussion? Looking around, any comments? No. Okay, all those in favor of the motion of the extension as indicated? Councillor McLaren, you working? Okay, there we go. Great, that's wonderful. Okay, it passes, I believe unanimously, but I couldn't see Ms. Willis. So, okay, that's the end of business. And Mr. Ryan, you know you have to submit those maintenance plans. So, and the documentation. So, moving along here. There are no property updates at this time, I presume, not mentioned here. Mr. Hazel, this is where you jump in if necessary. Okay. There are no motions. There are no notices of motion. No, item 10, other business, none. 11, correspondence, none. Date of next meeting is, as we heard, Monday, July 18, 2022 at 12 p.m. And now I need a motion to adjourn. Mr. Storms, seconder, Councillor McLaren. So all those in favor of adjourning? Everybody agrees. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you to staff. you know,
Bye,
for
everybody.
the presentations. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.